After taking a week-long course and passing a test, any law enforcement officer in Texas can perform investigative hypnosis.
Police in Texas were using hypnosis for everything. They've used it on murder cases, a guy who got bit by an animal and he couldn't remember what kind of animal it was. They hypnotized him to see if he could remember. Like really anything. They were just pulling out, well, let's just hypnotize them. Texas hasn't taken a new look at this in a real way in a long time from the legislative perspective. And so I think our small hope is that people will become aware that police are using hypnosis and that will raise questions about whether this is a practice that should go on or whether it should be reined in or done away with completely.
You can't get stuck in hypnosis. You can't, we're not going to have you dancing like a chicken, doing things you don't want to do. Your deep, dark secrets are not going to be revealed.
Vicky is a certified forensic hypnotist for the Hays County Sheriff's Office. He says some of the first reactions he got.
Can you help us with weight loss? Can you help us stop smoking? And you start feeling very relaxed.
Vicky gives us an example of the calm voice he uses in a session. He doesn't want to show us the exact techniques, but says basically he starts the process with a pre-interview. The lieutenant says there are rules forensic hypnotists have to follow. They can only hypnotize victims and witnesses.
They had to have experienced it, okay? I looked at the license plate, but I can't remember the fourth or fifth, the second, the third character.
Vicky says, but the accused cannot be placed under hypnosis because they can still lie while hypnotized. Vicky says investigators directly involved in the case can't do the hypnotizing. The reason?
I've never seen anything filling in the gaps where you could have investigators suggesting to you.
Sessions also have to be recorded, and there can only be one session per person. Lieutenant Vicky also says hypnosis is used as a last resort.
After taking a week-long course and passing a test, any law enforcement officer in Texas can perform investigative hypnosis.
This is what one attorney calls legal counsel behind closed doors.
Three, you won't be able to control yourself.
He may not win your case.
Because you are wrong about life, you understand?
Yes. But he promises to get you off.
And you will insist and demand that I touch you in any way that brings you pleasure.
So how long will it take you to master the guitar? Well, in Malcolm Gladwell's book, The Story of Success, he based his information on Eric Anderson's research about a group of violinists. And what he found was, as a general rule of thumb, it will take you 10,000 hours to master any new skill, right? So that's quite a long period of time. And when I'm looking at that, as a beginner guitarist, I'm thinking, yeah, that's a tall order. Am I ever going to get there? I mean, I'm playing this to become a hobby, and then it might develop. But initially, that's kind of off-putting. So what I wanted to do is try and break this down into stages, into milestones that will make it a bit easier to digest and a bit more encouraging for those of us who are just starting. So
Zach Evans here, and today we're going to answer the question, how long does it really take to get good at piano? Now we're going to be very specific with this question. We're going to break piano up into three categories: technique, playing by ear, and learning songs. We're going to be very specific and say, okay, if you practice this much time a day using this routine for this many weeks, you will get this result. Because I used to ask piano teachers that, they'd always just say, it depends. And I hate that answer because it's not practical at all and it doesn't help anybody out. So we're going to get very specific and really define these terms for you.
All right, guys, Again, today I'm going to show you guys how to troubleshoot this power supply down to the component level without any schematic. And as you guys know, there's power supplies all over the place, but this particular power supply is from the poultry industry, and it actually powers up basically a temp controller with alarms in there, basically turning on fans and heaters if they needed to. But let's take a quick look at this. This is a linear power supply, and as this is probably one of the most simplest power supply out there, but I'll kind of go through and show you guys how to troubleshoot without any schematic.
So in a 1-week course, they learn how to hypnotize people. They know all the rules of what's going to happen. They can tell you every single thing about hypnotism in a 1-week course. I took a 1-week course in LabVIEW, and I knew nothing when I finished. Nothing. I had to learn it on my own, and it took a long time before I finally developed the program. It took actually 3 months to develop the first program. It worked. It wasn't that good. Then I started working on the next one of my own free will, and that one came out really good. But I worked on it for at least the next year and a half before I finished it. So I want you to go take these courses right here and see if you can go and write software. Now I'm talking about somebody who doesn't know how to write software, because that's what you guys do with hypnotism, right? You can take a 1-week course. Every police officer can take a 1-week course in hypnotism, and you're a professional. So go try to write some software. And the reason that I'm saying this is because yesterday I had to go to Wichita Falls, and I stopped off at the hospital, and I went in to look at the what they had at the. I really wanted to use the restroom, but they had a cop sit right there, and he was just smiling, laughing at me, and I didn't like him laughing at me. I took it as he's a jerk, because he knows who I am. He just wants to laugh in my face, just like the rest of you pigs. I hate you. Give me my life back, you liars.